Hey guys, it's Miss Landecker, and I am going to walk you through Module 6. Now, one thing I want to remind you is that the research paper is part of Module 6. It is assignments 602B, 602C, and 603. Since it's a lengthier assignment, I made a separate video, so just come to the announcements page and click on Research Paper Help when you need help with that. But let's go ahead and just take a look. Now, Module 6 does require you to read To Kill a Mockingbird. You can get started with it right here. It goes up to the first couple chapters, and then you can find a copy in your local library at school or online if you have a Kindle or an e-reader. It's a pretty common book. It's pretty easy to find. If you're really having a hard time getting your hands on a copy, just let me know. But after you have read the novel, here's what you will need to do. Okay. Let's take a look at our Module 6 checklist just so we can see everything that needs to get done. You can see there is a timeline activity, which we're familiar with by now. The To Kill a Mockingbird exam is 602A. Here is the research paper that we talked about. Don't let that worry you. Remember, you've got that helpful video on the announcements page. So what we're going to go over in this video is obviously 601 and 602A. Then we're going to skip to 604 and work our way down. So let's go ahead and do that. All right, now 601 is a timeline assignment. So what you will need to do is find out this information that it asks you for on the announcements page and then go through these timelines. This time period is sort of all about after a lot of people moved out west, there was a lot of great literature that came up, particularly John Steinbeck, who I adore. And we're going to read some of his work in this lesson. So here's also some good information on Harper Lee, who is the author of To Kill a Mockingbird. If you're writing about her in your research paper, go ahead and you can use that website to help. So for 601, you are going to do your timeline. There's your practice. And then, of course, we will need to go to the assessment area and complete that quiz. Okay, now let's take a look for 602. Now remember, 602, B and C have to deal with the research paper, so make sure you watch that separate video. But for 602A, it does require you to read the novel and then take the quiz that goes along with it. So you can see in Part A, it tells you what to do, and then you're going to go to the assessment area to take that quiz. Again, should you need help with that, just let me know. And then the rest of this is your research paper. Now don't put that research paper off. Please don't skip it. It's only a 5-paragraph essay with including some research quotes and citations, and I have that video on the announcements page to help you, so make sure you take a look at that. Alright, so remember that 602A is the To Kill a Mockingbird exam, and then the research preparation, the research paper, which you will turn in when you're ready, and then we're going to go ahead and go to 604. Alright, 604 is all about John Steinbeck, who is an author I really enjoy. I feel like he really has the knack for taking something small and examining it and showing how just a tiny moment in someone's life can sort of change who they are forever. So this assignment has two purposes. The first one is a reading activity. You're going to read, answer, and then take questions. And the second one is sort of a more creative, expressive one. So let's take a look at what this lesson's asking us to do. Okay. What you're going to do is go through this information. For Part A of the lesson, you are going to read the chrysanthemums, and then you're going to answer the guided reading questions as you go. So here is a copy of the story. Now, if you're looking at this and you're like, oh my god, that's going to take forever, that's so boring, know that if you go into discussion groups in our class, I'll show you how to do that. You're going to click on discussion groups. It's going to open up this page. I'm going to scroll down to module by module help for 5 through 8. I'm going to open up Module 6 help for 606, 604 through 606. And you'll see in here there's a little preview video so you can get an idea of what the story is going to be about before you start reading. There's also a guided reading. So if you would rather listen to someone read it, you can use that. What I would recommend heavily that you do is answer these questions as you go along, whether you want to answer them on a Word document or you want to just jot down notes by hand as you go. Make sure you know the answer to these. Have those questions with you, and then you are going to take the online assessment, which is a quiz. So after you have read the story, answered the questions, take the answers to those questions, go to your assessments area and take the 604A Chrysanthemums quiz. And remember, there's help in discussion groups. Okay, for 604B, oops, there it is. For 604B, you are going to create a Pegasus. If you look back on this first page, it talks about what a Pegasus is, and it was an imaginary creature that Steinbeck made up. You can read more about it in the lesson, but basically you're going to create one of your own. The Pegasus, John Steinbeck thought, was a representation of himself because it was a pig with wings. He thought that, you know, it had the ability to fly and be graceful, but because it was a pig, it could never really get all of its paws, or I don't know if pig had hooves, I guess hooves. It could never get all his little hooves off the ground. So you're going to want to read more about that. And then you're going to create a new mythological creature to represent yourself. So basically you're going to mix at least 2 animals together, and you're going to write a detailed paragraph explaining the creature's link to your own life. Talk about how the actions of the creature are sort of a metaphor for your actions, and then you're going to include a picture. Now, you can take pictures together and use Photoshop or whatever crafty tools you have to create a picture. You can draw a picture. If you find a picture online, just make sure you credit the source where you got it. And then if you come to discussion groups, like we did before, you can scroll down. You can see that there is a sample in here if you want to take a look at what another student has done. This is her chutterfly, which is a mix of a cheetah and a butterfly. So you can see that she gives an explanation here, and there's a picture. Alrighty, let's go back. Now 605 is going to be, when you're done with 604, make sure you do your paragraph and your picture as 604B in the assessment area. Okay, 605. 605 is a fun lesson. It's all about music, and you are only going to have one thing to submit at the end of this lesson. So you're going to read through this information about the Harlem Renaissance, and then you are going to go to the investigate area and work on answering the questions. So there are 2 sets of questions. The first set has you listening to music, which you're going to do by going to this website. You also are going to need, please read about call and response. There is a question about call and response that most students miss. It is probably the most frequently plagiarized questions that students steal answers offline. So please read about call and response, and if you need help with that, just let me know. But there is different songs on here for you to listen to, and then some reading for you to do on this website. And the cool thing is they have a little video to explain it to you. Okay, so after you've done that, you're going to answer the questions on part 1. And then the second part involves you to read 2 poems and then answer the questions on part 2. So let's open this up. If you look at the Ellington and Hughes questions, you can see that part 1 there are 5 questions, and part 2 there are 7 questions. If you need help understanding the poetry terms, just click on these little links and it'll take you there. So you're going to need to find some onomatopoeia, some assonance, and some personification. Again, should you need help with that call and response, please just let me know. And don't forget, you've got the link with the video. So after you have answered those 12 questions, you are going to submit them as one assignment. Submit them as 605, and then you're going to move on to 606. So let's get back to where we were. Okay, 606. Now there are 2 assignments in here that you will need to submit. One is 606A and one is 606B. So here is what we need to do. For 606A, this assignment confuses a lot of people. This is the one time in class that we are asking you to copy and paste, but we are giving you the website and giving you a purpose. So there is a reason for that. Basically, what you're going to do is you want to go to this website, read about Hemingway's career with newspapers and his writing style. You're going to see that in there, the Kansas City Star gave him a list of rules that he needed to follow. And you are going to look at those rules and evaluate how they have changed over time. So if you open up this writing chart, it gives you the rules. These are the old rules that Hemingway had when he was a writer for the Kansas City Star. Okay, so then what you're going to do is go to the Writing for the Web website. And these are the new rules that are used for writing for the web. So what you're going to do is look at these and look at the old ones and then see which ones match. When you find a match, for example, if you decide, you know, that for example, that this one goes here, you're just going to highlight it, copy it, and then you would paste it on your copy of the writing chart. If you're having a hard time making the chart, just label them 1, 2, 3, and 4, and I'll know which is which. Okay, so it is okay to copy and paste. Remember, this is just a matching activity. So what you want to do is look at this old rule, think about what it means, and then look at the new rules and figure out which new rule it has evolved into. We may not say this anymore because this was back in Hemingway's time, so how would we say it now? That's basically what you're doing for this assignment. Okay, for part B, what you're going to do is read the excerpt from The Sun Also Rises, which is very short. You can see that it is only 2 paragraphs. Okay, and from there you are going to answer the 5 questions that go along with it. And it's going to ask you about 2 different types of reading, 2 different types of writing that you need to know about. I'm going to give you a hint. When you answer these, please make sure that you give support from the text. It tells you right here, support your answer with at least 2 examples. Just make sure that you do that throughout. And that is 606B. So 606A, or 606 is actually a pretty quick assignment. It does have 2 parts, but they're both relatively quick. It's a good one to work on. Okay, so you're going to submit both of those. You're going to come to 607. You are going to use your vocabulary skills to take the quiz. Now remember, I'm going to go to discussion groups real quick. Actually, yeah, let's go. Let's stay here in discussion groups. If I go to oops, that's not the one I wanted. If I go to module by module help and I go to module 6, you can see that if you're looking at all of this and you're deciding that it's too much and you want to have more help, all you need to do is come here, copy that, paste that in there, and just click enter, and it will walk you through me teaching all of these lessons out loud. So I'm not going to open all that up right now, but it's also going to have tips for the vocabulary in there should you need it. Okay, so I'm going to go back to lessons. I am going to open up 607, which is my vocabulary review, so I just need to take that test. 608 is my module evaluation. So I am going to go through and remember everything that I worked on in Module 6, then I'm going to go back and take that quiz, which is 608A, and then for 608B, you need to call me for a discussion-based assessment. There is a reading that goes along with it, so just make sure you review Upton Sinclair's The Jungle, which is in 504, and I will have you read that to me when we talk. And then I'm going to ask you some questions about your work in Module 6. Alright, that's your Module 6 review. If you need any questions, please just send me a text, email, or call. Thanks, and have a great day!